Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy CV with another reaction video. This is going to be geography now. It's about Germany. We did a video on Germany last week. There was a lot of awesome, great people that was commenting on that video, and there was a lot of helpful tips. A lot of people told me about the subtitles, but I didn't know. Someone just gave me the video, and I didn't put the subtitle on just because I didn't hear anybody talk. I didn't hear anybody talk in the music. It was just instruments. So I didn't think I needed it. So I went back and I watched it and with the subtitles. So I appreciate you guys. Now, there was a lot of negative comments too, but I don't want the negative to outweigh the good, because it was more good than the bad. There was only a few bad apples, like people just calling me stupid. And it's like, I'm trying to learn about your country. Obviously, if I don't know anything about your country, that does not make me stupid. So I'm from a country called Cape Verde. I'm sure you probably never heard of it. Just because you don't know about my country does not make you stupid. It makes me want to share information about my country, right? But I guess that's how some people are. They're just like, "Oh, you're stupid. You don't know that's the oldest clock tower." No. "Oh, you didn't know we had 20,000 castles." No, that's amazing. But you don't have to be, an asshole about it. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, there were some amazing people though, giving me amazing details. And I'll say this before we start the video. Just understand, like, when I was in high school, the only thing we learned in history class about Germany is one thing. Take a guess. Take a guess what it was. Just one thing. It was Hitler. It was Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. And then I said, well, there's got to be other things about Germany that we should learn in this class. Guess what? I got suspended 3 days for asking that question, because they said I was talking back to the teacher and I'm trying to lecture the class. When it came to African Americans, such as myself, all we learn is about slavery. So I asked the teacher, I said, hey, I don't think African American history starts with slavery. I mean, we were here before slavery. Another 3 days. I'm lecturing the class. So this is what they teach you in America, bro. Okay? They're not teaching you about other countries, how beautiful and wonderful it is. It is not that way. Okay? Now, as you get older, right, I should take the time and learn about other countries. And I do that. And having this reaction channel is making me do that even more. Right? So it's not like, oh, I just learned about America and that's it. Oh, no. Oh, no. By the way, I was not born here. I was not born in America, just to let you know. So look, what do I know about Germany? All I know is they have one of the best soccer team. When I was growing up, I love Germany. I love the Bundesliga. That's my second favorite league to watch. And I know a lot of the locations because of the football team names. So I don't know where they are located in Germany, but I know the names because of the football team, right? I don't know anything else. I don't know the food. I don't know the school system, the I don't know none of that stuff. So before you call me stupid and get upset, just say, hey, maybe I should just tell them, hey, you got that one wrong. This. And we learn, we move forward. And guess what? I can take that information and actually share that with my surroundings, people I know, people that you'll never get to talk to. But guess what? I can spread that information and share the beauty of Germany, because I know it is beautiful. Obviously, it's not what they teach you in school, but that's just propaganda. That's just what they do, right? So yeah, so I am going to take my time. I'm going to learn about this country. Even if some bad apples don't like it, or they're not patient with me, I really don't care, because there was a lot of amazing people, a lot of great information. A couple of people told me to watch this to start, and there's a couple other videos, and I want to learn about the food, the military, school system. Better yet, I want to learn about the people. Yeah. Anyways, man, let's get this video to, I don't know, 50 likes if we can. Appreciate you guys, man. Let's do it.
All right,
All right.
Lederhosen, Schnitzel beer, bratwurst order, bread and beer, complicated history beer, no humor, EDM, and gummy bears that will kind of like give you diarrhea, but it's like worth it. Ugh, those are such horrible stereotypes that every
By the way, I don't know the guy's name, but there is a guy who supposedly made. Oh, is he from Germany? No, I could be wrong. I'm not even gonna say it. He might be from Germany or Sweden. The guy who's made like all of these like music hits back in the 90s. Maybe he's from Sweden. I don't know.
German is so sick and tired of hearing.
Forget I said it.
One gummy bear?
It's time to learn geography.
Now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. So, we've conquered Belgium's castle, jumped through Denmark's lagoon, danced through France's forest, and now we've made it to the final boss of the EU, Kingpin Germany. Level 1, begin.
Maybe I should have did the other ones first, but then
you know why
about
I'm
Germany,
smiling. Yep, Germany has a lot of territorial anomalies. We'll
like
get into
mine.
that in a little bit, but first, Germany is located in central Western Europe, bordered by 9 other countries. Don't forget little Luxembourg, with small coasts on the North and Baltic Seas, which they own about 50 small islands. Now, Germany, like the US, is a federal republic which has 16 smaller states, or Bundesländer, each with its own constitution, 3 of which are cities, the capital Berlin, Hamburg, and Bremen, which is actually kind of like 2 cities, including Bremerhaven on the coast, but they kind of act like one entity. Fun side note, Lower Saxony is actually geographically situated further north than regular Saxony. Now let's jump into the fun stuff. Now, we already discussed the Jungholz Quadrupoint and the Vennbahn railway enclaves with Belgium and Austria. However, there's a few more. The entire town of Bussingen am Hochrhein is surrounded by Switzerland, whereas part of the Konstanz is cut off by the Rhine River and surrounded by Switzerland. However, immediately across the river, a small patch of empty land on the German side actually belongs to Switzerland.
How? Like, how did they determine that one? Okay, we'll give you this little piece. Okay, that evens it up to 80%, whatever.
Finally, they split the island of Usedom with Poland in the north. Germany is interesting because every state in the country has its
So Lower Saxony, and then the Saxony's all the way down there. So basically 16 states.
own distinct culture, dialect, history, food, traditions. I mean, Bavarians will be quite drastically different from Schleswig-Holsteiners. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern will be different from Saarland. This all has to do with ancient and recent history. Basically, in the quickest way I can summarize this, Germanic tribes, Roman wars, Charlemagne, 3 kingdoms, this guy marries an Italian, creating a whole new mess called the Holy Roman Empire made up of 300 smaller separate kingdoms, states, and dukedoms, which had nothing to do with Romans. Teutonic Knights, Brandenburgs became Prussia, Habsburgs became Austrians,
Christ.
Lithuanians and Poles made their own thing, whereas the Hungarians joined the Austrians. Wars, battles, Napoleon comes over and messes everything up, and finally, German nationalism surges, and in 1871, Otto von Bismarck creates the first proto-German unified state. And then they're all like, oh dang, we came late to this game, we gotta scramble for some colonies, and that's how all of these countries at one point spoke German. Oh, and this game, we gotta scramble for some colonies, and that's how all of these countries
Even some parts of Africa. Yeah, because I know Portuguese. I don't know when Portuguese was just running the entire freaking planet, basically, man. The Portuguese basically took over the world.
At one point spoke German. Oh, and also keep in mind, like 300 years before this, a German banking company obtained colonial rights to Venezuela for like 20 years. They were looking for the lost city of El Dorado. So technically, you can kind of say Germans colonized the Americas, but it wasn't like a nationalized conquest thing. Fast forward even more, and then you get World War I, the monarchy ends, Treaty of Versailles, they lose land, Nazis come in, World War II, Germany splits in two for about 40 years, and then finally, we get the Germany we have today. East Germany, consisting of these states, is today still quite different from the rest of Germany as it was first occupied and influenced by the Soviet Union. They are generally not as well off economically as the rest of the country, as you can still see the blocky Soviet-style buildings sprawled throughout the regions. In fact, the city of Berlin was split in half, and the west side was actually an enclave of West Germany, only accessible by train and highway. You can even see from a satellite image the divide. East Berlin still uses the yellowish tinted sulfur vapor light bulbs, whereas the west still uses fluorescent and mercury arc white tinted light bulbs. Now the funny thing is, although Berlin is the largest city in Germany, the busiest airports are actually Frankfurt, Munich, Dusseldorf, with Berlin Tegel ranking at number 4. Otherwise, some top notable landmarks and spots would be the Brandenburg Gate, the Valhalla.
Oh yeah, we saw that in that video. See, I didn't know the name
Otherwise,
of it.
some top notable landmarks and spots would be
I
the
didn't
Brandenburg.
Yeah, I remember seeing this. You know what I mean? Like, how can you forget it? Like, this thing is just the way it's structured, man. It's just beautiful, bro.
Gate, the Valhalla, Cologne Cathedral, the Ulminster Church, the tallest in the world, the Berlin Victory Column, and hundreds of castles all over, the most notable one probably being Neuschwanstein, the concept behind Disney's Cinderella Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world. And of course, everybody knows about the...
Oh, we definitely got to do the zoo as well, man. I'm talking about food, people, military, definitely zoo. This one I did not know this. That is cool.
Castle. Germany also has over 400 zoos, more than any other country in the world. And of course, everybody knows about the Autobahn, the highway system in which if you see this sign, it means there's no speed limit. And it's like that for a huge portion of the roadway. And no wonder.
I've never heard about this. You can just go at any speed here.
See this sign.
But why though? Why is that okay on this road?
It means there's no speed limit, and it's like that for a huge portion of the roadway. And no wonder, considering how vast and wide those cultivated countrysides can get. Time for level 2.
Oh, so you just gotta hurry up and get to where you want to get, cause yeah, okay. But still.
Okay, think of it this way. In Germany, the more down you go, the more up you move. Basically, Germany lies on the Atlantic shelf in the north that starts with the mudflats in the North Sea. Seriously, this island right here is accessible only for a few hours by foot until the tide comes and floods everything. Then everything just kind of creeps up into the Alps in the south by Bavaria and Baden-Württemberg, with the highest mountain, Zugspitze, located right along the border with Austria. Kind of like France, Germany is filled with a vast irrigating network of rivers like the Spree, Elbe, Weser, Rhine, and of course, the mighty Danube that starts here. About a third of the land is arable and another third is woodland, and after millennia of civilization, Germans have cultivated the crap out of their country. Most agriculture, of course, happens in the North Flat Plains and the central regions of the country, which is, by the way, kind of like Europe's Tornado Alley, due to its position sandwiched between the Arctic blasts of Scandinavia and the moist, warm jet streams of the Mediterranean below. Germany can be an atmospheric war zone in the summer. There are more tornadoes on average in Germany than any other country in Europe. Speaking of flat farmland, Germany is the world's largest rye and hop producer. Germans abso-freaking-lutely love their bread. There are over 300 different kinds of bread in the country, more types than any other country in the world, and almost every meal incorporates some kind of slice or small bun or Brötchen of bread. Hast du gluten-free? Nein! Slice or small bun or Brötchen of bread.
Brötchen.
Hast du gluten-free? Nein!
That's slap.
Germans are heavy meat eaters, specifically in pork. They basically know every possible way to cook a pig. Over 50 different types of sausage exist alongside schnitzels, roulade.
Please tell me you guys do the skin with the little fat. Oh my god, we do that in our country. We call it thoughtasma. Oh my god. Especially the ones with the hot sauce. When we watch football, every Sunday we watch football, we gotta have that and some drinks, man.
Then Sauerbraten, Schweinsachse, and at a big party you might find Spanferkel. Beer reigns supreme all over as the third largest consumers of beer after the Czech Republic. Even the president has no problem with public intoxication, and Austria. Germany is world renowned for their beer, which by the way follows the Reinheitsgebot rule in which they are only allowed to use water, hops, malt, and sometimes yeast. Nonetheless, about 1,300 breweries exist, pumping out over 5,000 brands. The oldest continuously existing brewery in the world, started by Benedictine monks in 1040 AD, can be found here. Germany takes the environment very seriously and for the past 2 decades has been going on a major green revolution. As of today, they have the largest installed solar power capacity, and green infrastructure practices like home installed turbines and solar panels have seen a huge surge in the past 10 years. Forests dominate the southern regions where the landscape gets hillier and mountainous, the most famous one being the Black Forest or the Schwarzwald in Baden-Württemberg. Deer, bears, boar, foxes, badgers, and the national animal, the eagle, can be found thriving in these parts. Nonetheless, economically,
wait, eagle's their national animal.
Foxes, badgers, and the national animal, the eagle, can be found thriving in these parts.
I didn't know that.
Nonetheless, economically, Germany is known mostly for their exceptional engineering and industry production. Companies we've all heard of like Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Telekom, Nivea, DHL, Bosch, Adidas, Puma! Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Telekom.
I used to do a lot of work for Bosch, bro. Like, I used to do a lot of prototype for Bosch back in the day. Like, I've said it before, like, I'm still under contract where I can't talk about a lot of the stuff that I build. And they never told me what a lot of these things are for either. Like, I didn't have the security clearance to do it, even though I was doing the prototypes. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to do my job, man.
Bosch, Adidas, Puma, Adidas, Puma! Yeah, it's kind of like the whole Biscoito Bolacha thing from Brazil. Remember? Well, we have mudflats, tornadoes, pork, beer, mountains. All that's missing is people. Level 3. Fun little side note, in Germany, this is 3, not this. Now, if the EU was a family, Germany would kind of be like the... Fun little side note, in Germany, this is 3, not this. Now, if the EU was a family...
Wait. That's a joke,
Fun little side note,
right?
In Germany, this is...
Is this a joke? So, to me, this is 3. I do it this way. So, this is 3 in Germany? You have to do it with a thumb? That's not true.
Now, if the EU was a family, Germany...
Wait, I didn't even do it. He did it this way. This is 3 to me. Like okay. Hey.
Fun little side note, in Germany, this is 3, not this. Now, if the EU was a family, Germany would kind of be like the dad who got out of rehab, reconciled with his wife and kids, and is taking his new life very seriously as he is haunted by the demons of his past every day. First of all, the country has about 82 million people and is the most populated in the EU,
right.
second most in Europe after Russia, and has the 4th largest nominal GDP in the world. About 80% of the country identifies as ethnically German, 12% other Europeans, mostly Polish, Italian, Dutch, and so on. Turks make up about 3.5%, Asians at 2%, and the rest are made up of other groups like Africans and Americans. Also, they use the euro, they use the C and F type outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Germany is without a doubt a global powerhouse. It is the strongest economy in the EU and makes up about 16% of the union's population. It's the 3rd largest exporter and importer of goods in the world. After the United States, Germany is also the 2nd most popular global migration destination. Germany experiences a high standard of living, tuition-free universities, if you get accepted that is, a mostly government-subsidized universal healthcare system, about a quarter is still privatized, and state pension for retirement at age 65. Now, when it comes to language, things get a little tricky. Each state kind of has their own type of German. However, to get by, most Germans learn how to speak Hochdeutsch, or High German, which is the standard dialect. The European Charter, however, protects the minority languages of Frisian, Danish, Romani, Sorbian, which is like a Slavic-based language used along the Czech-Polish border, and Plattdeutsch, or Low German, which has similarities to Dutch and is typically used by the Amish and Mennonite communities across the world. In terms of regional distinctions, though, Germany is kind of divided into 5 cultural areas: Rhineland, East and Middle Deutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. Rhineland is on the west side, East and Middle Deutschland. In terms of regional distinctions, though, Germany is kind of divided into 5 cultural areas: Rhineland, East and Middle Deutschland, Norddeutschland, Baden-Württemberg, and Bavaria. Rhineland is on the west side and has a culture somewhat more influenced by France, more Catholics. Carnival celebrations are huge out here. East and Middle Germany was the part that used to be its own country for 40 years as it was influenced by the Soviets. Sorbians can also be found here too. Northern Germany has a coastal sea culture that identifies closer with Denmark and the Netherlands. They are also known for being kind of quiet and reserved. Baden-Württemberg has an interesting Swabian culture where they speak a dialect so thick that only about 40% of it is intelligible to other Germans. And then you have Bavaria, which is where the Americanized, perpetuated stereotypes about Germany came from, with lederhosen, dirndls, half-timber, beer houses, and cuckoo clocks. Germany to other Germans, and has an interesting closer with Denmark by the Soviets. Sorbians and has a culture somewhat more influenced by France, more Catholics. Carnival celebrations are huge out here. East and Middle Germany was the part that used to be its own country for 40 years as it was influenced by the Soviets. Sorbians can also be found here too. Northern Germany has a coastal sea culture that identifies closer with Denmark and the Netherlands. They are also known for being kind of quiet and reserved. Baden-Württemberg has an interesting Swabian culture where they speak a dialect so thick that only about 40% of it is intelligible to other.
Well, if you're watching this, where are you from, man? I kind of like the first one, man. I want to be in some carnival, drink some beers, and walk the streets and have a good time. You know what I'm saying?
Other Germans. And then you have Bavaria, which is where the Americanized, perpetuated stereotypes about Germany came from, with lederhosen, dirndls, half-timber, beer houses, and cuckoo clocks. For the record, Germans are sick of those stereotypes. It's like saying all Americans are cowboys with guns and horses. Speaking of stereotypes, some of the stereotypes in Germany include things like Saxons being very indecisive, Berliners are always bragging about themselves, Swabians are stingy, Bavarians drank too much, Hessians talk too much, Holsteiners don't talk enough, and so on. Words differ from regions too. For example, in High German, you would say Auf Wiedersehen, but in Bavarian, you would say Fiat die Gott. In Kölsch, you would say Tschüss, and in Rhineland, you might say Ajus. And there's so many compound words that get really long and complicated, like Rindfleischetikettierungsüberwachungsaufgaben Übertragungsgesetz.
I mean, I get it, because in my country is Cape Verde, but it's 10 different islands, right? So 10 islands is my country. Each island, you know, you have different shade of skin tone a little bit. And also the dialect, we speak the same language, but the dialect is different from each island. It is so crazy, man. Like the island that I'm from is Fogo. When we say car, we say carro. Carro. Like you gotta roll that the tongue. And then when you go to other places, they say koch. Instead of carro, they say koch. But it means the same thing. It's the same language, but it's just, you know, it's the roll of the tongue. That's even within our own country. That, you know, I mean, I get it though, because it's 10 islands. We used to get, you know, my country was basically like the pit stop of the world. Like that's where a lot of boats used to go and stop to sleep, to eat, get things for their ships and then take over and then continue their voyage. So yeah, my country was basically, you could say, it was a pit stop of the world. Just look it up. See, I'm learning from you guys, and then in return, I share a little bit of information of mine.
Because many words are merkwürdig, or ambiguous words that are kind of elongated to give off an extensive meaning. Germans have very vivid imaginations and make up words for everything. Like my favorite word, Backpfeifengesicht. Not this time! By the way, for the record, this letter makes a double S sound. However, spelling reformers have tried to decrease the usage of this letter in recent years, which has led to some protests. Germans also love dubbing everything from foreign media into German. Some like this, some don't, but either way, it's here to stay. About 60% of the country identifies, at least nominally, as Christian, split between Protestants and Catholics. Germany was even the birthplace of the Protestant Reformation, split from the Catholic Church by Martin Luther. Otherwise, the rest are mostly agnostic or irreligious, with a noticeable community of Muslims, mostly from the huge Turkish and Middle Eastern communities, at about 5%, as well as a few Jews, Buddhists, and Hindus rounding up the remainder 1%. To kind of get a feel of what it's like to be German, you kind of have to understand where they've come from. After World War II, they kind of had a lot of work to do. However, it wasn't until the mid-50s and early 60s that the Wirtschaftswunder, or economic wonder, happened, to which almost everybody got to work. Basically, this guy envisioned and implemented a social market economy combined with free market capitalism alongside socialist policies that established fair competition in a welfare state. GDP increased by 80%, investments by 120%, labor forces were utilized to the maximum. Things started to get better. In Germany, all children are corralled into general public schools until age 10, when they are given the option to enroll in 3 different types of middle schools. Gymnasium, geared towards focusing on higher linguistic, mathematic, and science fields for universities. Realschule, a middle ground type of school, and Hauptschule, a school that is geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades.
Hauptschule, yeah, I like that, because yeah, my son, his high school was it's Votech, so they have basically everything. Like, he chose plumbing, right? So he did 4 years of plumbing, and then once he's done, which he was done this year, all he has to do is do 2 more years outside of the school, just with any company, and then he could become a master plumber. You know what I mean? Because the school I went to, they didn't have that, man. It was just, whatever you want to be, you just got to grind and figure it out. But at least his school, if you're into, I don't know, if you want to be a dentist, you take that class. If you want to be cybersecurity, you take that class. If you want to do carpentry, you take that. They have everything. Probably over 160, no, not over 160, over 60 different classes that teaches kids basically have some sort of skill, especially with their hands, something that they can grab and and actually do some labor. You know what I mean? So it's not just like, because today a lot of kids in America, man, they just think work is gonna be, it's just social media. Everybody want to be a streamer. Everybody want to be an IG model, a TikToker, a YouTuber, and I like the fact that my son went to that school because he has a skill, which is great. So I like that, though.
Germany also has school that fields for universities. Realschule, a middle ground,
because everybody
type of
learns
school,
different.
and
Everybody has a different
school
skill
that is geared towards helping kids that seem to show promise in specific vocation or trades. Germany also has the largest music market in the EU and the 3rd in the world after the US and Japan. They love preserving their heritage and culture through music and art. In fact, there are around 130 national orchestras, mostly supported by public money, and artists get a 50% reduction in health insurance through a special type of offer in the legal system. One thing that still kind of supposedly maintains itself in Germany is the mindset of Vergangenheitsbewältigung. Totally butchered that, which kind of translates to a lingering sense of guilt from the past. Germans have reportedly some of the lowest levels of national pride, and unless if you're at a soccer game, chances are you will almost never see anyone holding a German flag or waving it in any kind of like patriotic setting. It's weird, but it's kind of how things are. Waving it in any kind of, and unless if you're guilt from the of Vergangenheitsbewältigung. Totally butchered that, which kind of translates to a lingering sense of guilt.
I mean, do some of you guys feel that way? Like a little guilt from the past? I never thought of that. I never thought about it that way. Because, like I said, I watch Bundesliga and people are having a great time. And I've watched videos even after the game. They're having a great time. So,
from the past. Germans have reportedly some of the lowest levels of national pride. And unless if you're at a soccer game, chances are you will almost never see anyone.
It's football.
when holding a German flag or waving it in any kind of like patriotic setting. It's weird, but it's kind of how things are.
You monster!
They've made great strides to move on from the past. Nazi flags and Mein Kampf are incredibly illegal items to own.
Well, this is what I was saying to those that were being very negative. This is what I was saying. Like, this is all they teach well, I'm only going to say the school that I went to. They're not teaching anything else about Germany, man. And I refuse to think that anywhere in the world it's just known for one thing. You know what I'm saying? Even like, you know, like you get, like he said, some of you guys, well, not you guys, but some of the people have that guilt because of the past, right? And I totally understand it. I just never thought about it like that. And this is why I do these type of videos now, is because I do want to learn about different countries and different race and everything that's not in my backyard. Why not? You know what I'm saying?
In Germany, and they even have a rule, the Volksverhetzung, which basically says you cannot talk trash by denying the past atrocities. Some people say this infringes on free speech, others say it's good because it solidifies truth. Otherwise, some notable Germans throughout history include Charlemagne, although he was a Frank, but
I mean, you gotta know your history to know where you're going, right? Like, I think you have to know your history. Like, the history could be ugly, but it's a history, right? I don't look at somebody who's from Germany and go, oh, you know what? I know your past. No, I don't do that. I'm African American. I don't just go outside and look at somebody and go, oh, your race is just like your great parents because they had a couple slaves. I can't judge the person who's my age. Now, could that person be racist? Yeah. Could they be hiding it? Yeah. But I can't just judge them right off the bat and go, oh, I know your history. So, you know what I mean? Nah.
talk trash by denying the past atrocities. Some people say this infringes on free speech, others say it's good because it solidifies truth. Otherwise, some notable Germans throughout history include Charlemagne, although he was a Frank, but I guess it kind of counts.
I never heard of
Albrecht
Charlemagne.
Dürer, David Friedrich, Gutenberg, Bach, Beethoven,
I know
Carl
Bach,
Benz,
Beethoven.
Albert Einstein, although Americans would like to claim that he moved to the US and became an American. Johannes Kepler, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Friedrich, that he moved to the US.
I thought he was always an American.
Bach, Beethoven, Carl Benz, Albert Einstein, although Americans would like to claim that he
I mean, his name is Einstein. We say Einstein because we don't want to make it sound too German.
moved to the US and became an American. Johannes Kepler, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Friedrich Schiller, Michael US and became an American. Johannes Kepler, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Friedrich Schiller, Michael Shoemaker,
No, I heard of this guy, but I just...
Carl Benz, Albert Einstein, although Americans would like to claim that he moved to the US and became an American. Johannes Kepler,
Was it him?
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe,
Him. I've heard a couple of people talking about him. So, Volkswagen, maybe?
Friedrich Schiller, Michael Shoemaker,
I know
Alex
Michael
von
Shoemaker.
Humboldt, and of course Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels co-founded Marx.
Bro, I thought that was Frederick Douglass. Oh my God. And his name is Frederick. Yo, I look like for a second when I looked really quick, I thought that was Frederick Douglass on the right. And his name is Frederick. Oh my God. I'm going to put a picture right up here, over here, so you can see Frederick Douglass. Douglass.
But one thing Germans do best would have to be diplomacy. To this day, the German passport holds the most visa-free nations out of any other country in the world, just beating Sweden. Therefore, you can kind of conclude that Germany kind of knows how to relate to people. Let's find out how in the final round, level 4.
Okay, I like that.
Germany knows how to
So-
make friends. They have over 220 diplomatic missions abroad and over 350 honorary consuls and have an incredibly high position of authority in the EU. Their closest African friend would probably be Namibia. As a former German colony way back in the 19th century, Namibia held on relations, and to this day, German is still a recognized language in Namibia. Germans have been supporting and sharing ties both economically and ideologically for over a century. India and South Korea are really close friends in Asia. India supported both East and West Germany during the Cold War, and after reunification, they were like, woohoo! Woo! Even better! And Germany is to South Korea what Japan is to France. They love to piggyback off of each other's ideas and cultures, especially in the automotive industry. Many South Koreans were sent to Germany after the Korean War to work abroad and study, and Germans have been growing in fascination with visiting South Korea. The US is probably the closest ally outside of the EU. About 30% of Americans claim German heritage, and after World War II, the Marshall Plan allowed the US to give post-war aid to Germany, which helped kickstart the economic recovery. Germany was a key figure in the formation of the State of Israel after World War II, which after the Holocaust left an obligation to invest in the building up of a Jewish community. Turkey is probably the closest Middle Eastern ally, as the Turks make up the largest Asian demographic in Germany, although many of them may or may not also identify as Kurds. But since Kurds don't have a state of their own, they usually go under Turkish passports when immigrating and are documented as such. Their best friends, however, would probably be literally all their neighbors. The thing is, Germany is kind of like Bosnia and Herzegovina, in which, by default, they kind of get friends based off of the regional alliances. Bavarians get along with Austrians, Baden-Württembergs get along with Switzerland, East Germany has good relations with the Slavic countries, the Rhine states love Belgium.
This reminds me of like, hey, you follow me, I follow you back, or I follow you because you follow this person I like. Okay. It's a good neighbor right there.
Luxembourg and France, and the north side loves the Netherlands and Denmark. France, though, is kind of like the trophy wife of Germany, as the two have had an angry start, but then eventually fell in love and worked together beautifully. France is like the beautiful, flashy spokesperson for the EU that stands in the spotlight as Germany stands in the background, managing all the money and logistical work. In conclusion, although Germanic peoples have existed for thousands of years, an actual unified German state didn't appear until kind of recently, and the brief time that they've been around, they've kind of gone through some of the most intense, world-revolutionizing historical events possibly imagined. Yet, they've come out working hard and building their way up to become a world superpower. You gotta give it to them. There's something about the Germans. And with that, final boss level complete. Stay tuned. Another African state Germany has ties to, Ghana, is coming up next.
See, that was cool, man. We learned a little bit about the business side of Germany and, you know, some of the locations, which it's going to be hard to remember on first watch. You know what I'm saying? A little bit about the food. But I do want to know if you guys, because they said they cook the pigs all kind of way. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Pig feet and some soup after you had a lot of drink, it'll sober you up like this. Hey, if you're in Germany and you know what I'm talking about, let me know. Maybe you guys don't make it that way, but in my country, that's how we do it. And also, we take the pig skin with the fat like that thick, and we throw in oil. Oh my god! Like the skin gets hard and like it's crunchy. And if it's seasoned well, especially with some hot sauce, oh my god! Like it's probably not the healthiest thing to eat, but my country, man, we just love it, man. So I think I was wrong about the person that I said well with the music there. I think it might have been a guy from Sweden. I think he's from Sweden, not Germany. So I apologize on that one. But as far as like he said, like you guys do care about your music and your art, and something with the musicians, they get certain percentage when it comes to healthcare. That's crazy. I mean, I like it. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, you know, some of the history is preserved through music and art. So I'm all for that, man. Like, look, we're gonna do a couple more videos on Germany, man. So far, I like it. I love the people that shared their opinions. A couple of people told me about this video, and then I have a couple other videos coming up. So you know, and then we'll dive into the people, the politics, which I don't really try to get into politics, but you know, it's part of the history, right? So we gotta at least learn a little bit about it. What else? The military, the technology, the companies that's created there, all that stuff, man. Like schools, healthcare, the roads. That road that had what was it? It had the circle with the 4 lines, which means you could just go as fast as you want. You could be Michael Schumacher. Is that his name? Michael Schumacher. You basically drive like him on that road. I'm sure people are still careful, but man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know, man. I don't think I want to be on that road. But then again, I'm pretty sure there's a reason why they do it. Basically to get what you need to get fast, because it's just long stretch of roads, basically. So, but anyways, man, if there's anything else on Germany, put in the comment section below. We'll get to it. Like I said, food, weather, clothing, toys. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to learn everything I can. We've done a little bit on Australia. We've learned a lot about musicians in Australia, sports, comedy. I want to do the same thing here, and then also we'll go from there to Sweden, and then other places, man. Anyways, keep your head up. Love you guys always. Till next time. Peace.